According to the latest report from the current UN Special Rapporteur, Mrs. Elizabeth Salmon, the situation has worsened, in fact. And in connection to the accountability for crimes against humanity that the well-known Commission of Inquiry in 2014 established, there are no also progress on that front. Although the United Nations and many civil society organizations are exploring different venues towards accountability, civil accountability, the voice of the victims, the voice of defectors, but also criminal accountability. The reality, and in addition to that, you have cases in different states, like in the US, the parents of Otto Warmbier, and in Japan, regarding different cases like the Paradise on Earth process and all that, and in South Korea as well. Despite all those initiatives, the reality is that the international community has not provided real accountability answers to the victims in connection to the human rights situation in North Korea. That is wrong. Those who escape a country and if they are repatriated, they could suffer human rights abuses, torture, ill treatment. They shouldn't be repatriated. That's against a very basic international law principle, which is the principle of non-refoulement. During my tenure as mandate holder, I had reached out to the Chinese government many times, both in private conversations, but also in my public reports, stressing the importance to respect this principle, basic human principle. Sometimes the Chinese government, without actually recognizing the application of this non-refoulement principle, they stopped repatriations on humanitarian basis. And during those times, I welcomed that decision. I hope now that the Chinese government goes back to that stance and stop repatriating North Koreans, ordinary North Koreans, most of them women, who escape the country looking for a better life. Complicated question from the political point of view, because we are talking about the interests of states here, So I always try to avoid that. But the fact that the panel of experts of the Security Council has been dismantled, it's a wrong signal. It's a wrong signal. Again, it's important that that panel of experts remain. Again, that panel of experts should also include a section on negative impact of sanctions. And overall, what we don't want to see is that the United Nations system of protection of human rights is undermined. We want the UPR, the Universal Periodical Review, to remain. We want the Special Rapporteur for Human Rights in North Korea remain in place. We want the Human Rights Council to continue to pass resolutions with regards to the human rights situation of North Korea. All that is very important, and because ultimately are directed to seek progress on the ground for North Koreans. So my call for member states that they are operating in this respect is, please do not touch these important mechanisms that have been used for many years towards seeking progress on the ground in North Korea. I think that there could be a chance that the International Criminal Court opens a file with regards to the human rights in North Korea. There are some technicalities there that need to be addressed, but I think it is fair to say that the International Criminal Court should have a file with North Korea. Then, what will be the specific crimes investigated? What will be the perpetrators in that file? Those are different questions, but it has been proven first in 2014 with the COI report, but throughout those years, in reports of my own reports, but reports of other special rapporteurs, it has been proven that crimes against humanity has been committed in North Korea. So therefore, I believe that we need to push for the International Criminal Court to open a file and address all technicalities problems, as I say, but ultimately to have an investigation. So then victims could feel that their grievances are being listened. We all could believe in human rights, because that's one of the main purposes of accountability, to reaffirm our conviction that human rights needs to be respected. That's why accountability is very important. I should say that as a mandate holder, I implemented a dual approach in my agenda, which is all actions necessary to pursue accountability, together with all necessary measures to pursue an engagement and a dialogue with the government, because what we want to see is real progress on the ground. We want to see North Koreans, civilians, ordinary citizens in the provinces, also in Pyongyang, to get a better respect of the human rights. And for that, you need to engage. So it's challenging, but it's not contradictory. You can go through those channels at the same time. That's my point of view. That is true. If a country has not ratified this Rome Statute, the International Criminal Court doesn't have jurisdiction. Now you have some cases, like the cases of the Japanese abductees, where you can argue that the crime that was committed not only in North Korea but also in Japan, field, and that gives you a chance to argue jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court. Then I know that there are questions of statute of limitations, but my view as a lawyer is that those problems on the statute of limitations clause can be overcome, and therefore at least a case in the International Criminal Court on the case of the Japanese abductees could be open. It's a very important question, because under the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, we all enjoy the right to freedom of information, access to information, freedom of expression, and so on and so forth. Now, I have to be coherent with my stance as a rapporteur, when I said that some actions of trying to insulate, trying to send information to North Korea could bring problems, especially in the border area in the DMZ between South Korea and North Korea, where those people living in the border areas expressed their fear of facing, retributions in the border area from North Korea due to this, the story about the balloons being sent to North Korea. That's a single case. But your overall question is important, because one of the reasons that North Korea remains that isolated is because information is not going into the country. And not only that, now the situation is so serious that we don't even know what's happening in the country, because information is not coming out of the country. And that's one of the challenges for the international community. Don't forget that after the COVID, all United Nations humanitarian agencies has left the country. There is no international personnel in the country. We don't have Western embassies. So the situation is very serious in terms of isolation. It's the worst level of isolation, as far as I know, of North Korea at this point in time. It seems that the COVID-19 pandemic really matched what the regime in North Korea has in mind the ideology of self-reliance, the Chuchi idea, to remain isolated from the world. And my point of view is that it doesn't work like that. You have to integrate with the other countries around the world, and ultimately you have to respect the rights of the people. We should continue working hard. We should continue to look into many insights that the human rights agenda can provide, not just keep on one only course of action. There are many. For example, in this year 2024, at the United Nations in Geneva, the North Korea will have to report about the human rights situation to the Human Rights Council of the United Nations in what is called the Universal Periodical Review. Last time, when North Korea presented the human rights report of the country, they brought a huge delegation to Geneva and they explained what's the situation. Of course, they said that everything is fine, nothing wrong is happening, but that could be an entry point and an opportunity to listen what they are saying and trying to build a dialogue. This is a single example. Then we were discussing about accountability. We talked about the ICC. So there are many, I think, we talked about the defectors and the problem with repatriation. So there are many insights that deserve attention, and we have to continue working and insist until we see progress.